And so I want to say then that when we think more closely about the Eucharist, it is actually at the heart of the church and the heart of our identity. For example, the Eucharist looks like bread and wine, right? The accidents, as the church calls it, are still there, even though the substance or the fundamental reality has changed. Similarly, in the church, you and I look like ordinary people. And maybe sometimes, people in the church fail to live up to the holiness of the church. And so some people might say, it's just a human institution, right? But then we're saying you're looking at the accidents and not the substance and the heart of the church. Because the substance and the heart of the church is, in fact, Jesus Christ himself. It is, in fact, his body. The church is actually, in some way, the real presence of Christ in the world still. When I was Catholic or when I was Protestant, I remember realizing at a particular moment how beautiful this idea is, that with the Eucharist and with the Catholic Church itself, the fundamental idea is that even though Christ ascended, he did not leave us. He still gives his body, he still gives his blood, he still gives his soul and his divinity, and he is still present with us in a grand and substantial way, and that way is the church. And so when we think about the Eucharist, the Eucharist lies at the heart of the faith. We talk about how in the Catechism it says that, the Eucharist is the source and summit. It's the fundamental way in which we understand ourselves. Though in our accidents we look ordinary, in our substance we are supernatural. We are Christ's body and blood. Even though we receive the Eucharist and we receive Christ and we think, oh, well, I still look the same way. I still am human. I still have flesh. The reality is that we are a new creation now. The reality is that we are transformed now, even if we don't visibly see it.